But for now, let's get on board Shribrikant Panda, Managing Director, MFA, to talk about the earnings. And I'm taking a look at the numbers. Congratulations, it's been a pretty stellar set. What has been your volume and your average realization?
Good morning, and thank you. Well, we have indeed had a good set of numbers for Q1, and that's really the Q4 of previous year party sort of continuing, if I can put it that way. So realizations, well, for the quarter were about 93,000 rupees a ton, and that's because we mostly sell on long-term contracts, and so these prices were locked in before they started to slide in the spot market. And as you would be aware, we have seen extreme volatility in ferrochrome prices, with in fact Chinese spot prices dropping all the way to the low 60 cents before bouncing back. So we have benefited from having locked in our long-term contracts at high prices during the quarter. But some of that will be affected when we look at the ongoing Q2 quarter, but that's something we'll deal with in due course.
Right. So what's the outlook as far as ferrochrome prices grow? Because I think they weakened quite significantly. What is the trend looking like?
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, as I mentioned, that there has been extreme volatility, and it's got a lot to do with the sort of the on again, off again stimulus measures that the Chinese government has been taking. So while prices dropped significantly to the low 60 cents, but thereafter again they have risen in the spot market. And for the current month, the Chinese buy on a monthly basis. For the current month, prices are again back up close to the 80-cent mark. So the medium-term trend is heading towards again positive territory. And what we see in terms of prices is that a band of about 80 to 90 cents is, if it stays within that, then I think as far as fully integrated producers like ourselves are concerned, that's a very good, healthy territory to be in. And the more deviations that we see on either side of that band brings about a correction, shortly thereafter.
Mr. Panda, are all your 6 furnaces in operation, and what's the total capacity utilization?
Yes, we are now back to operating all 6 furnaces. As you would be aware, we had some disruptions because of our mining operations being out of action for a while. But the mines are now operating again from late last month, from the 23rd of June to be precise. So all 6 furnaces are now back in operation, and while volume was affected during Q1 to the extent of about 10 to 11,000 tons of ferrochrome, but we're pretty much back to normal as far as Q2 is concerned. And so roughly about 58 to 59,000 tons of output would be the guidance for Q2.
How is demand looking? We understand that the demand from the stainless steel mills has been a little bit weak.
No, actually that's not true. Demand right through all of this, through the price volatility, has actually been stable. And especially in our case, because we place most of our output on long-term contracts. So while prices are finalized from quarter to quarter, but offtake is not an issue, especially for us. But even otherwise, demand has been robust. And I guess again, Chinese GDP numbers having looking up. And talks of GDP numbers for the year in entirety being upgraded will lead to I don't think any issues actually on demand. I mean, positive, yes.
Okay. My producer and we were just looking at your period chart on the screens, 52 weeks, and that's a 330% increase in the stock price from a level of 137 odd. So clearly the market is very excited about the prospects of your business. I just want you to leave us with the targets that you have internally laid out for your sales and profits for FY18 and the margins you would deliver during that period.
Well, that's a little bit of a difficult call to make at this point in time because of the volatility that we're seeing. So, Q1 has been stellar. We don't expect Q2 to be anywhere near this. In fact, as the reverse has happened, or the converse has happened in Q2, in the sense that we're locked into lower prices and the spot appreciation happened thereafter. But I expect the second half of the year to be more stable. One has to look at the last couple of quarters as really exceptional quarters, which you see from time to time in the chrome industry. So a little bit more sanity and stability coming around, and I expect the second half of the year to be more stable. In terms of output guidance is something that we can be more clear about, which is between 238 to 240,000 tons for the year. But one has to really see how the price movement pans out.
Okay, let you go on that note. Thank you for joining in. Congratulations, Mr. Panda, on a stellar quarter, and all the very best as well for the company going forward. Clearly, the street is cheering those earnings. The stock is up and about. They've benefited from the long-term contracts. The 6 furnaces have resumed operations, and more importantly, the second half of the year is going to be more stable come next year. Let's move right on then and focus in on some other more